This is a no bullshit guide to set up your Autoexec the right way. Your Autoexec is going to set the view model you want, the keybinds you want, a crosshair switcher, demo binds, and you can add whatever else you want to this, right? So my Autoexec has my view model and my keybinds, which are probably the two most important things. This is just a second jump, so I used to have a bind for like the old jump throw on V. So like I use spacebar for jump, but I think it's a mental thing. I just like having V as the button I do jump throws for with util. Although I still like jump with spacebar. When I do a lineup, I use V. I think it's just a mental thing. But right here you'll see toggle CL underscore crosshair underscore recoil 01. This bind is really important because it allows you to toggle the recoil crosshair, right? So I think like 90% of the time, don't use follow recoil, right? It's really good to like know the recoil pattern for the AK, both M4s, AUG. Your rifles, most of your pistols use the normal crosshair. Don't use follow recoil. However, MP9, Mac 10, Tech 9, P90, it's really strong to use follow recoil. Some people, Galil FAMAS, use follow recoil, but for sure the submachine guns, right? The reason I say that you should use follow recoil for these is because the meta right now with the submachine guns, and I think that you should use follow recoil for any weapon that you're moving and shooting with. You know, Mac 10, MP9, Tech 9, guns like that. You need to use follow recoil so that you don't have to focus on the recoil pattern while you're strafing left to right. Because the meta on these weapons is to strafe left to right. Some people even jump with the Mac 10, MP9, P90, Tech 9, right? So follow recoil just kind of like takes your brain out of it. If you're not using follow recoil for your submachine guns, then you're missing a pretty strong part of your game, right? I feel like my half buys as a player are really strong. I feel like my force buys as a player are really strong, especially with the P90 because I use this. Every pro, they have a follow recoil bind. They're not using follow recoil on the AK. They're not using follow recoil on the M4A1S. They're not using it on the M4A4, but they are using it on the Mac 10, the P90, the Tech 9. Okay, if you're not using this, you're behind right now, right? The other two keybinds I have are just I like to jump around with my crosshair if I'm having a bad game. I like to jump to a different crosshair. It just kind of resets my mental. So I have a keybind for toggling the outline on and off, so like the black outline of my crosshair, and I have a keybind for switching my crosshair. Okay, it's just, you know, and then as you can see, crosshair switcher, I'm going to post my Autoexec in the comments. This is just 6 different crosshairs that pressing this button changes between. And, you know, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what crosshairs I like to switch between. I used to use a different crosshair for pistol rounds than I did my rifle rounds. There's been a time in my Counter-Strike career where I had a pistol crosshair, an M4 crosshair, and an AK crosshair. And so, like, I guess that's a beauty of Counter-Strike is you can really customize this however you want it, right? And then I watch at least one demo a day. Sometimes I watch 2 demos, and the rest of these are just demo keybinds, so that I don't have to like click with my mouse. I actually use I use this little like external numpad with a lot of these, and that's how I watch demos. I'm really trying to get better at Counter Strike. I mean, like this is like a, you know, an important part of my life right now that I'm dedicating a lot of time to. I recently hit Faceit 8. I'm like mid Faceit 8. I think I'm 1620 right now on Faceit. So you know, I'm less than 400 elo from 10, and I'm currently I think 23k Premier. That's my next goal, is hitting 25k Premier. Anyways, right? Start out by just copy and pasting this into a notepad, or if you're into coding, you can use like Visual Studios, which is what I'm using. This is just like Visual Studios code, but you can easily just do it to a notepad file, right? So like new text document. The important thing is you want to save it as a .cfg, right? You want to make sure that you save this file as a .cfg. here's the next important part. Where you save your Autoexec is really important, right? So it's going to be wherever you have Counter-Strike saved. For me, Program 86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, CSGO, Game, Core, CFG is going to be where this is located. If you want to see exactly where it is, it's going to be this PC, Windows, Program 86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, CSGO. This is where you stop. If you have your Counter-Strike, or I guess this is where you start. If you have your Counter-Strike not in like the default spot on your C drive, this is where it'll start for you. But once you have your Counter-Strike folder, it's Game, Core, CFG, and you save your Autoexec here, right? If you're not using Visual Studio's code, you just do it in Notepad, name it autoexec.cfg, right? It's good stuff. It's real good stuff. Do me a favor, and if you like the video, check out my Logitech mouse review. Have a good one.